Bum Temple YouTube. All right. Good morning, everybody. Just let me know if you can hear me okay. All right. Thanks, Carla. Good morning, Amy. Good to see you all. Thanks for being here on a Saturday morning. We'll go ahead and join palms as we get started here. And repeat after me. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. Keeping the palms joined. And you can put the palms down. Just had a memory, a thought pop up. Spent the last probably maybe four years leading meditation at MCRD, Marine Corps recruit base, and I would lead this with the Japanese Buddhist temple downtown, 2929 Market Street. And Smitty, many of you know, and a lot of other great folks over there. The head reverend, they organized this group a long time ago. So a few years ago, they asked me to join them, and they introduced one very specific Buddhist practice, Jodo Shinshu practice, and they know that our approach with Dharma Bum Temple is a little bit different. So I started, like I said, probably about 4 years ago. I go once a month. Sunday mornings. We start at 8 a.m. and this is during their religious service time. And it's really beautiful because we get probably about 150 Marines, recruits that choose to come to the Buddhist class. And again, they can choose any group they want. And so to see so many young people choose to come to the Buddhist group is really beautiful. But the funny part to me is funny and respectful, of course, is so at the beginning, and as I always do, I lead, when I lead the group, I ask everybody to join palms and I say, repeat after me. And so I'll say, I take refuge in the Buddha, and they repeat that. I'll take refuge in the Dharma, they repeat that. I take refuge in the Sangha, and they repeat that. And then I put, you can put the palms down, and they all almost always repeat, you can put the palms down. And I don't know why I get such a big kick out of that. I think it's just, they're in high training mode, beyond intense level of training most of us can even comprehend, I think, unless you've been in the military. So I always, and my back is to them as I'm facing the Buddha. So it always just gives me a little bit of a laugh when I hear them say, you can put the palms down. Their minds are so ready to be trained. And it reminds me of a great book by D.T. Suzuki, Training of the Zen Buddhist Monk. If you've never read that or are just looking for something different to read, that's an incredible text. Again, D.T. Suzuki, Training of the Zen Buddhist Monk. And it's about life in a Zen Buddhist monastery. And having been around Buddhist temples and monasteries for a long time now, as well as military population. Myself, I've never been in the military, but I've done work there for probably about 15 years with meditation or Buddhist classes. There's a lot of similarities, and I've talked to people from both worlds. And there's a lot of similarities between Buddhist monastic training and military discipline and training. So if you are a active or military member or veteran, training the Zen Buddhist monk, I think you'll find a lot of similarities, a lot of differences as well. I don't want to take that away. Tremendous differences, but as far as being told what to wear, when to eat, when to sleep, and just following really basic commands and orders constantly all day, and a complete letting go of this sense of self and this ego. There's tremendous similarities between the two. So anyways, just wanted to start with that story as it just popped into my head. So why don't we, I'll do a brief question this morning, but for anyone who's just joining us for the first time, maybe welcome. Let's go ahead and just type in the first word that comes to mind, whatever you're sitting with or feeling right now. So there's a chat box there on the screen. A lot of you are chiming in already. Great to see so many faces and smiley faces and hearts and all the wonderful things you put. So I don't know, just type a word in, whatever you're feeling right now, whatever comes to you. I'll make it a simple question since I rambled so much. Go ahead and put in a word. Frustrated, aloha, laughter. That's a good start. I think there's, for me, Buddhist practice is very real. It's just being with things as they are, not trying to, be fake or put on any sort of facade or pretend to be this role or that role. We're always so busy playing these roles. I'm whatever your role is in your life, if you're a parent, if you're a child, if you're a teacher, if you're a, whatever that role is, we're constantly, I think, stepping in and out of roles. And each role we play differently. But hopefully at the heart of all those roles, we're really just being very authentic and genuine to ourselves and who we are, and being who we are in these roles, as opposed to allowing the roles to define who we are. So it's a big difference there. Let's see, lots, aversion, accomplished, fixing, balance, planning. Good. All good things to ponder. I think it's important to, when you step in between roles, to watch how you respond. If you're by yourself and you're exercising or reading, or if you are, having a conversation with a friend, or if you're parenting, whatever it might be, see how you are in these situations, and work on maybe just remembering the heart of who you are, and to not get lost in these roles. Anything else before we get started with meditation here? All right, so we'll start with the meditation practice. A couple things to tell you before we begin. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're not going to float away. You're not going to have any mystical, magical experiences. The mind that races all day long is not going to shut off. Don't judge your practice, meaning don't ask yourself, is this working? Is it not working? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? We're just going to sit. We're going to breathe. You'll hear sounds inside the room, sounds outside. This is life. Life is filled with chaos. And the practice of meditation is learning to get quiet and still within all the chaos. So don't expect anything. We're just going to sit and breathe for a bit. Posture, if you're on a cushion, it helps slide into the front third. Pushing the stomach forward allows the back to straighten. Shoulders are relaxed. Hands can be on the knees or in the lap, whatever is comfortable for you. I'll suggest closing the eyes if comfortable, or have them slightly open. Mouth will be open or closed, whatever is comfortable. I will guide us as we begin, and we'll settle into a little bit of silence. Again, don't expect silence. Just try to be with things as they are. And starting with the eyes closed if comfortable, or slightly open. Mouth is open or closed. We'll start with taking 3 deep breaths slowly. And eventually settle into a natural rhythm of the breath. Noticing the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought. And start with gently guiding the attention, focus to the stomach or chest. Breathing in, feel them rise. Breathing out, they fall. Simply continue this practice, observing sensation of breath, expecting nothing but to sit and breathe. And as the mind wanders, lost in thought, recognize it. Release that thought. Return attention, focus to the breath. Where's your mind? Lost in thought? Return to breath. Letting go of expectations. Letting go of judgment from the practice. Just sitting, breathing. Keeping the mind alert, aware of each sound, each thought, each physical sensation. yet concerned with nothing but sitting, breathing. Learning to be comfortable in stillness, in quiet, just sitting, breathing. And with the body still, rested, and the speech quiet, aware of all sounds, and the mind learning to settle, know what it's like to just sit and breathe, knowing with each breath there's nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, no one else to be. Everything beautiful, exactly as it is. Sitting, breathing. And once again, taking 3 deep breaths slowly. And as you slowly open the eyes, slowly begin to move. And most important, with the practice of meditation, is to recognize how you feel now, immediately after. Compare this to how you typically feel throughout your day. Recognize the difference, if there is one. And ask yourselves how you'd prefer to feel every day for the rest of your life. And know that however you feel now, if it's quiet, calm, it's still, or a busy mind, racing mind, whatever you're sitting with at this moment, has nothing to do with anything I said. It's nothing to do with how you sit, hold the hands or cross the legs. It's nothing to do with the sounds around us or anything else for that matter. It has everything to do with your own mind and your own mind's reaction to an external condition. This is what the Buddha called pratitya samuppada, means dependent origination. This is the basis of the Buddha's awakening. The word Buddha simply means awakened. He was a human being no different than any one of us who began to understand why he suffered, why he got angry, sad, depressed, stressed, anxious. He began to understand the causal relationship of all phenomena. What that means very simply for all of us, regardless of where we come from or what we believe in or where we think we're going, our whole life is filled with things that happen. We react. More stuff happens, more reactions. That's it. That's what we get. This practice is simply learning what it's like to respond to something quietly, peacefully, still. Because for most of us, the way you feel now is quite different from how you feel throughout the rest of your days. So all we're working on is closing the gap to the way you feel now is closer to how you feel always. Just as driven, motivated, productive, successful, whatever that means to you in your respective lives. But with a mind that's steady, clear, focused, distracted by nothing, disturbed by no one. You spend so much of your day being disturbed by people. What people say, what people do, what people don't do, what people post. So much of our days are spent and wasted time being disturbed by others. People doing things that are completely out of our control. And yet we allow their mess to completely impact and ruin our day. There's no need to give anybody that power over you. Learn to control your mind, learn to stay present, cultivate a daily meditation practice, learn to appreciate everything as it is, learn to understand that everybody else is going through their own mess. And the things that disturb you is just a reflection of people's own mess. It's really got nothing to do with you. So why let someone else's mess ruin your day? You got enough to worry about. Meditation is free. Buddhist practice is free. Sitting, breathing, learning to be kind to yourself and everybody else. For me, it's the practice of the paramitas, the bodhisattva practice of the 6 perfections: generosity, morality, patience, diligence, concentration, and wisdom. 6 words you all know and understand: generosity, morality, patience, diligence, concentration, and wisdom. And the challenge now is, can we integrate these into our lives? Can we be more giving to friends and family of our time, of our attention, of our smiles? Can we live a life that's morally and ethically driven by a sense of appreciation for others and for self? Can we be patient with people as they go through their challenges? Can you be patient with yourself as you go through your challenges? Can you work hard at whatever you're doing? Can you be diligent with developing a daily meditation practice, even if it's 3 minutes a day? Can you cultivate a level of concentration on the present moment so you don't spend so much time wrapped up in how you wish your life had worked out? Because every moment you spend wishing your life had worked out differently, you're missing opportunities that are sitting right in front of you. And can we be wise enough to understand that we don't know our entire journey, but whatever put you here has been an incredible experience. And the Buddha taught that to have this human life, this human existence, is a reflection of having incredible karma. So I cross so many people in these meditation Buddhist circles who maybe think their life sucks and they have terrible karma, but if you're sitting here right now, that means you have incredible karma. It doesn't mean your life's going how you want it to. It doesn't mean you got everything you wanted. It doesn't mean you weren't hurt or devastated or whatever words you want to use. It means you have so many beautiful things in your life. Don't lose sight of that, because those beautiful things need you. So with that, I'll go ahead and pause. And if you didn't tie it all together, that was just a rundown of the 6 paramitas, without using the words and the titles. But to me, that's the daily practice. So if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. As you can probably see, there's a chat box there. I'll go ahead and respond. We use the rest of the time to respond to questions, meditation, Buddhist practice, anything you're sitting with. For me, I always prefer to just respond to what's on your mind. So I'll pause there and allow you to type in questions, and I'll respond as we go. Reaction. Is it really possible to train myself to not react when someone attacks me with this vitriolic, I don't even know if I said that right, hateful, angry rhetoric, because I'm not doing a very good job not being disturbed? Yes, it's possible. And I'm just reading your question again. So here's the thing, Cynthia. Even just looking at the way you worded the question, is it possible to train myself to not react? You're not trying to not react. Or let me rephrase that. I'm not suggesting that you don't react. What I'm suggesting is that you react in a way that doesn't come from a place of so much hatred and anger and frustration at their mess, as I say. It's their anger, it's their frustration, it's their challenges, it's their difficulty, it's their hatred, it's their stuff. And they're just going blah, blah, blah at you. So you're always going to react. But the first step on the Eightfold Path, the Buddhist teachings, the Four Noble Truths, life is filled with suffering is one. Second one is the cause of suffering, greed, anger, and ignorance, which we overcome with generosity, compassion, and wisdom. The third noble truth is the ending of suffering, order. And the first one is to have correct view. Often you'll hear the word right, understanding. And I think the translation of understanding really applies very specifically to what I'm talking about right now. That you don't have the correct understanding of the individual, and therefore you react in a way that you don't like. The correct understanding of someone's expression towards you would be somewhere along the lines, at least how I perceive it, as this is their view. That's their view. They're entitled to it. They're welcome to it. They don't need to change it for me. I don't have to agree with them. I don't have to like them. I don't have to hang out and spend time with them if I don't want to. But why should I allow their views to disturb me? Now, for those who are brand new and maybe don't know me or have never heard me speak or write or whatever it is, I'm not, just to throw this in there as an asterisk, I'm not suggesting that I am fine with the way things are in the world. I see things I don't like. I speak up from my perception, my perspective, my views, and I share my thoughts. Buddhist practice isn't a doormat. But when I see things I don't like and I speak up on behalf of what my view is, I'm not attached to my view thinking that I'm better than they are. The view is to understand that we're all human. We've all done things that harm people. We all act in ways that bring harm, pain, suffering to self and others. So when others do things that I see cause harm, I'm going to react. But I'm going to react in a way where I understand that they too have their own views and their own pain and their own suffering. And I'm not going to allow their ignorance to ruin me. Almost like I said at the beginning, why should I allow them to have that much power over me? So again, I go back to, you don't need to train yourself not to react. You need to train yourself to react differently and to continue to cultivate an even deeper sense of understanding and compassion. We can say we have compassion and love and all these types of things, but do we? Do we understand that every human being is simply acting on what they think is correct? Again, it doesn't mean we have to agree with it or that we have to think it's correct. But do we understand that? So, again, their hatred, their anger, their rhetoric, that's theirs. The problem I see is you're internalizing all of that and you're making it yours. Why? If they've got anger and hatred, why are you taking on their anger and hatred? So sometimes it puts us in situations where we have to guard ourselves and be very careful with who and where and how we spend our time and how we and where we focus our attention. But so if you rephrase the question, yes, I think it's possible 100% to train yourself to react with nothing but kindness, compassion, and understanding. but it takes practice. So I hope that's helpful. And as you know, just keep practicing. Could you share your thoughts and perspectives on, I'm not seeing that word, Maitri, Maitreya, not sure. Elaborate for me, please, Kelly. Other thoughts or questions while Kelly's elaborating? Oh, metta. Pema Chodron talks about Maitri as unconditional friendliness towards oneself. Metta. Yeah, so metta or loving kindness, and specifically the way you ask it, unconditional friendliness towards oneself. I think it's very important to first recognize that I do this a lot with practice. I'll give you one example, and then I'll come back to the metta, loving kindness, and friendliness towards yourself. Part of the paramitas is the practice of wisdom. So often people ask, well, what is wisdom? Now, the opposite of wisdom is ignorance. So if I ask someone, do you know when you're being ignorant? Usually people do. Now, if I ask someone to practice ultimate wisdom, then the response is, well, what is ultimate wisdom? So for me, the practice isn't to focus on what is ultimate wisdom. The practice is to focus on, when am I being ignorant? When am I wrapped up in pride and ego and self? When am I wrapped up in thinking that I'm right and everybody else is wrong? When am I wrapped up in thinking that I'm better than everybody else? This is ignorance. So if I do these things less, and I am less ignorant, and I practice less ignorance, then I am practicing more wisdom. So the same thing applies with friendliness towards oneself. Unconditional friendliness, loving kindness towards self. Begin to recognize, when are you not friendly towards yourself? It's a common thing in Buddhist teachings that I just, without getting into, I mean, Pema Chodron's a master, an incredible teacher, but it's something that I have found, for me as a practitioner, very difficult when a lot of teachers out there say, well, let's just practice endless loving kindness. I don't find that useful. I don't find that practical. I don't find that realistic now, where we are at. What I find useful and practical is, can I practice more loving kindness? And if I'm going to practice more loving kindness or friendliness, coming back to your word, sorry, I'm going to practice more friendliness towards myself, the first thing I have to do is recognize, when am I not friendly? Usually you can recognize that. I'm not being kind to myself with the views I'm having about myself. I'm not being kind to myself with the thoughts I'm having to myself. I'm not being kind to myself with the words or what I'm telling myself. Usually we can identify and recognize when we are not being kind to ourselves, when we are having self-hatred or doubt or fears. These are all things that are not friendly. Right? It's really simple usually for us to recognize when someone else is being mean to us. Right? I mean, we feel it right away. If someone's being mean to you, you usually know it right away. But can you begin to recognize when you're being mean to yourself? So to just say I'm going to practice endless unconditional friendliness towards myself um, doesn't sit with me, because I have to recognize, in order to do that, what is, or when am I being not friendly towards myself? To me, that's a step in practicing unconditional friendliness towards self, unconditional loving kindness towards self. Do this first. Spend the next 5 years watching. And I mean that very seriously. I mean, we look at Buddhist teachings and we think, oh, I've been at this for 3 years. I should have this figured out by now. No, this is a lifelong practice, endless practice, not endless accomplishments and goals and when do I finish, but endless, can I recognize every day for the next 5 years when I'm not being friendly to myself? And then as that arises, you'll begin to understand it better. And then you'll work on cultivating the practice of kindness towards yourself. So hopefully that's helpful. Other thoughts, questions? You're welcome. For me, and I'll just share this as um, we have a few minutes left and I can respond to another question, but I'll just share this, that there is this, how can I sum it up? There's this kind of Buddhist mystique that people get drawn to, and it's the word upaya means skillful means. And Buddhism itself is very upaic, and the way it's presented in our Western culture is very skillful, with this kind of idea that it's this quiet, peaceful thing, and you have these simple monks and nuns, and you have the rivers flowing water, that you have these beautiful flowers, and you have soft music. I mean, our culture has adopted like spas around Buddhas and like mantras and things like that. So our culture has very skillfully taken Buddhist teachings and made it about this like big, huge, peaceful relaxation thing. And I think that's great as like a way to tease you into what Buddhist practice is really about. But to me, Buddhist practice is really harsh. It's really intense. Looking at your anger, looking at your greed, looking at your ignorance, that doesn't sound peaceful to me. That's never been peaceful. I've never found, and this is just, as those of you who know me, if you sit with 1,000 people, they'll share it 1,000 different ways. And even the Buddha said there's 84,000 paths to awakening. So for me, Jeff, as a practitioner, I've never found anything about Buddhist practice to be peaceful. The practice is the hard work. It's the side effects, the results. I don't like that word really, but that helps us, or that makes us feel better. So if I explore deeply my greed, my anger, and my ignorance, and I practice intensely at being generous, compassionate, and wise, which is really hard work, the residual impact from that is going to be a much gentler, more peaceful feeling. But the practice of it is harsh. Tibetan Buddhism, they show wrathful deities. You'll see like Mahakala is an example of one. But if you just Google wrathful deities Tibetan and just put on images, you'll see these really fierce, scary looking images in Buddhist mudras or poses, sitting in meditation, or Manjushri holding the sword above his head. But it's the fierce, wrathful deity of Manjushri. And when I was taught about those, I was told that that's what we look like on the inside. And through practice of cultivating compassion and wisdom, then we carve away at that really wrathful sense of self. And we become what we have become accustomed to seeing, which is these really beautiful images of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. But that's like just making ourselves pretty on the outside when the inside is not so pretty. To me, this practice is about looking at the inside, which is not so pretty. And then not even caring what the outside looks like, because the outside doesn't matter. But we have it all backwards. We spend so much time and money and effort and concerns on making sure the outside looks good, that we can put on that perception for other people, when what we really need to be doing is focusing on the inside. So think about how many thousands and thousands of dollars we've spent, millions of dollars this world has spent on making sure the outside looks okay. Working on the inside is free. So I suggest working on the inside. Any final thoughts before I close? All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll join palms as we do a closing transfer of merit. May any merit gained from this practice be transferred to all beings in all directions. May all be at peace. May all be free from suffering. May the merit be transferred to those who need it most. So a few quick announcements before you head out. Thanks all for being here. My name is Jeff. I'm a Dharma Bum. We opened up the Dharma Bum Temple 14 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to local folks. Those of us who lead, we're not monks, nuns, gurus, masters, teachers. We're not looking for students. We're just practitioners. We do our best to take our unenlightened view of the Buddhist teachings and share it with those who show up. Just about every night we have different classes going on from different Buddhist traditions. We closed in March. So we've been closed, was that 8 months now? And everything is online, about 90% of our classes. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, we're on YouTube. Everything else is on Zoom. Recovery classes, our college classes, our teen classes, Monday morning through Friday morning we sit. So there's always something happening. Just go to the website, click on the schedule, and you'll see all the classes going on. Buddha for You is open as far as online sales for curbside pickup or shipping. So I keep getting all these questions about that. If you are interested in anything, just check that out on either the Facebook or Instagram stuff, and we're happy to help you. Other than that, if I never see you again, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's the heart of this practice. Please remember, it's just a practice. It's not a goal. So try to abandon these expectations that you're having of yourself and just continue to shave away at that ego every day. So good luck. Please stay home as much as possible, wear a mask, stay safe, and don't do anything that would put anyone at risk of getting sick. So thank you all. Be well.